So on behalf of the Southwest Minnesota State University alumni, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 2013 Alumni Awards Luncheon. Thank you for joining us to honor some of our most accomplished alumni. My name is Becky Bott. I'm the president of the Alumni Association Board of Directors, and I would like to ask the other alumni board members here to please stand to be recognized. Thank you. A very special welcome goes out today to our 2013 Alumni Award recipients and their special guests, many of whom have traveled very far to be here today. Congratulations to each of you. The stories from the past award winners have never failed to inspire me. It's apparent what a significant place their SMSU experience holds in their heart and how it has helped shape them both personally and professionally. So I'm sure with the caliber of today's award winners that their stories will be no different. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce President Connie J. Gores. President Gores has served at Winona State University since 2007 as the Vice President for Student Life and Development and as interim president during the summer 2012. She brings with her considerable experience in higher education administration and leadership. She holds a bachelor's degree from North Dakota State University, a master's degree from Colorado State University, and a PhD from the University of Washington. Please help me welcome President Connie J. Gores.
Good afternoon. It's wonderful to be here, and it's a special treat to be introduced by Becky. Becky and I share a fence. We're actually next door neighbors, so I feel very much at home when I go home because I know that I have Becky right next door. So this is wonderful. This is such an exciting time and such an exciting day and such an exciting weekend. I'm really pleased to be here at SMSU, and I'm really pleased to welcome you all to this wonderful luncheon. I'm one of the newcomers, obviously, to SMSU. I came in July. I actually moved into my house on a Thursday late in June, and I was on campus that following Monday. So it's been a whirlwind. Over the past couple months, I've spent a lot of time trying to get to know more about the institution, the history, the community, the region, and I've spent a lot of time meeting people and talking to people and listening and learning and really trying to absorb as much information as I can. Every single place I turn, everywhere I go, in every conversation that I have, I've been struck by the remarkable people we have who are associated with SMSU. And almost everywhere I go, when I talk to people or, in large settings or small, I learn about all the different kinds of connections people have with the university. About a week or so ago, we had a gathering of the Chamber of Commerce. And I don't know, there may be 50 or 60 people. And I had people raise their arm if they were an alum. And then I said, now keep your arm up if a member of your family is an alum. If you ever have been in partnership with us, or if you've come to a senior college class, or if, on. I didn't have to go very far, and every single arm was up in the room because of all the connections, because of all the different ways that this university connects with people. Time and again, I've also heard about how SMSU has changed lives and truly helped our alums, as all of you, put you on this trajectory for what you've done, and it's helped make you who you are today. And even though we're really relatively young in our existence, our reach is great and our influence is extensive. In fact, if we were to sort of map out all our different connections, to see who's had connections with the university, it'd be sort of like one of these cat cradles, one of those games you played when you were younger, and you realized all these intertwining, interconnecting pieces. And all of you help make that possible. All of you have done remarkable things. Especially the award winners, do take time today to read their bios. I have been so inspired by each of you, by what I've read, by what I know, by what I'm getting to know about each and every one of you. Truly, you are remarkable people who have made such a difference in the lives of many and in the life of the institution as well. And I know you'll continue to be involved with us. You alums are you're the example of what we hope our students will become. And the only thing I would ask is that every one of you, all of you alumni in the audience, you stay connected with current students, because there are students right now who would love to talk to you, who would love to connect with you, to know what's possible, to be able to see, okay, if they think they might want to go into medicine, you know, now they see that what's possible. Maybe they want to go into public service work, or they want to work in higher education. All of you can help them see what's possible as well. The other thing I'd ask is that you help us attract prospective students. If you have a family member, a grandchild, niece, nephew, even someone at your church with whom you've been real impressed, or a neighbor, talk to them about SMSU. Talk to them about all the exciting things going on. Let them know that we are an option and that we would welcome them with open arms and really give them the kind of experience that you had and that has helped make you who you are. There's no question that also in the background of all of our recipients is this remarkable determination to succeed and to truly inspire others and do good work. And for that, we thank all of you recipients. I want to say thank you very much for being here. I want to congratulate the recipients again on receiving this award. There's no question you're deserving of this award and that we're very, very proud of you. And we're very glad that you're all part of the SMSU family. So thank you very much.
Thank you, President Gorse. Hello and welcome on behalf of the SMSU Alumni Association. We are glad that you could all be here to help us celebrate the accomplishments of 5 of our Alumni Award recipients here tonight. For those that don't know, my name is Mike Vandrell. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations here at SMSU. Before we get started with the awards, I would like to recognize 2 of our alumni board members that will complete their terms on the SMSU Alumni Board after today's meeting. Up on the screen, Dr. Jim Walters, class of 1989, and Deb Mittling, class of 1985. They couldn't be here today, but if we could, just give them a round of applause. They have done a great job for us. The Gold Award is our Graduate of the Last Decade Award. It is presented to a graduate of Southwest Minnesota State University. The Gold Award is to recognize recent graduates with exceptional achievement and significant contribution to the recipient's profession, community, society, or university. This year's 2013 Gold Award goes to Darlene Guzzi, a 2005 SMSU alum. Darlene is a plastic surgery resident at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center.
Oddly, it was English professor Jim Zarzana who helped guide this year's Graduate of the Last Decade Award winner, Darlene Guzzi, into the world of science. When I first enrolled, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought of a billion different things, said the Janesville, Minnesota native and 2005 alumnus. She graduated with degrees in chemistry and business administration. Zarzana recognized her interests and suggested her academic path. I like chemistry, she said, and the department was great, very welcoming and interesting. It was active for its size, and I got to research with them. She is currently a plastic surgery resident at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. She likes that aspect of medicine because, she says, you work head to foot. I'm very interested in pediatric plastic surgery. It's very creative. You can take something on the leg and move it to the face. It's focused on improving lifestyle and function. It's not about keeping someone alive, but about giving them a life. It's a 6-year program, and she's now in her 4th year. I'm full-time plastic surgery now, she says. My first 3 years were scattered around. It's nice to be focused on what I'm going to be doing. I thought I was heading for a career in orthopedic surgery, but one day I was randomly assigned to the OR with plastic surgery toward the end of my first year of medical school. I saw the procedures they did, and it was wildly crazy. I was hooked. Medical residents notoriously work long hours. She said in her first 3 years it was 80 hours a week, but now she's down to 70. She selected SMSU because a brother, Dennis, had such a positive experience. She says he was 3 years ahead of me. The college was small enough and big enough. Guzzi was in the honors program, and because of that, she said she could take advanced level courses without the prerequisites. And she says she had a lot of people helping her along the way. She mentioned Zarzana, also Jay Brown, professor of chemistry, Dr. Von Gailey, associate professor of biology, Dr. Susan Jones, professor of finance, and Dr. Lee Sanow, professor of chemistry, as influential faculty members during her time here at SMSU. She was certainly active, participating in the Chemistry Club, Students in Free Enterprise, now in Actus, Intramurals, Residence Hall Association, Campus Crusade for Christ, Office of Admission Ambassador, and Orientation Leader. With a medical school degree from the Mayo Medical School, she began her residency at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. She also does work for the Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Where will the future take her? She's not sure. She says, "I'm engaged, and my fiancé is a general surgery resident in Mississippi. He'll graduate 1 year after I do. Then he has 3 years to pay back the Army. Where I go will be determined by the military during that time," she said. The two met in Cincinnati. He was a medical student when she was a resident there. They will be married in March of 2014 in Costa Rica. "I'm very appreciative of this honor," she said. "My years at SMSU were some of the best of my life. It's a great place, and it was a good place for me to launch my medical career."
Please help me welcome to the stage our 2013 Gold Award recipient, Dr. Darlene Guzzi.
So we had gotten warned that we were supposed to give an acceptance speech, and I'm like, oh, well, I'd like to thank the Academy. But no, I really do want to thank the foundation and all of the Alumni Association just for this award. It was a surprise, for sure, a very pleasant surprise, but definitely a surprise. And you know, looking back, it kind of made me think about my experience here at SMSU and kind of what you were alluding to. It's a very special place. I mean, you know it's special and unique when an English professor gets you to major in chemistry. And when you go to the chemistry department, people like Dr. Brown, who's here, Dr. Sano, Dr. Eliason, were very welcoming, very encouraging, and kind of helped spawn my interest into science and got me involved in research. And I even have a publication with Dr. Brown. And then, because that just wasn't enough, I had to, go into something else, and was interested in business. And Dr. Susan Jones, who was not my advisor but willingly stepped in to basically kind of advise me, even though I was a chemistry major, in the business world, was really nice. People in the honors program, Dr. Kurtler at the time, and then Dr. Kramer, were very influential. And people, I see Doug Simon here, Randy Abbott. There was just so many people that I was thinking about as I was driving here that I could just start listing off, and I know I'm missing some. Dr. Onyahala, shouts out to you too. That, it's just like, wow, I didn't really appreciate how special it was until I really started reflecting. And it's really encouraging. I know Dr. Gailey, who was a biology professor, always told all of his classes, well, I really like to teach, but just remember me when you're accepting your Nobel Prize, just mention my name. So this isn't a Nobel Prize, but still thanks Dr. Gailey as well. I've been very fortunate in my life. I was blessed with parents who really pushed me to excel and kind of pushed me here to SMSU. And then, just such a welcoming environment here, and that allowed me to go to Mayo Medical School, where I was also very fortunate and very spoiled. And kind of now hitting the real world, looking back and realizing how lucky I was, just have people that really cared and were so encouraging. I wish I still had it, but it's been great, and I just want to say thank you so much. It's really an honor. So, thank you.
The weather's not looking so good, so we decided to get sweatshirts for our award recipients too. can't plan the weather for the parade, so hopefully it will be warm enough. Thank you, Darlene, and congratulations on such an awesome career already. Our Honorary Lifetime Membership Award is presented to individuals who did not graduate from SMSU, but have shown strong commitment through their years of service and support to the university. It goes without saying that Ron Wood portrays all the characteristics needed to be a Mustang. And it was proven the first day when he came to SMSU, he rolled up his sleeves and helped clean up the campus after our huge 1st of July storm in 2011. Ron did not believe in maintaining the status quo.
3 years ago, not many people within the SMSU community knew Ron Wood. This year, he's being honored by the Alumni Association for his contributions to the university. Such was the impact that Wood had on SMSU when he became the interim president in July of 2011, following the retirement of Dr. David Danaher. Wood had been retired as the president of the Minnesota West Community and Technical College for 3 years, following a successful 10 years in that position. Minnesota West has campuses in Granite Falls, Canby, Pipestone, Worthington, and Jackson. The campuses surround Marshall, and there's a lot of offices in Marshall, so I was familiar with SMSU, he said. Say the name Ron Wood around campus today, and 2 words come to mind: energy and passion. Being the president of a 4-year institution opened my eyes to the amount of opportunities that are present, he said. Leading a 2-year college and a 4-year in terms of leadership function is about the same. But in terms of opportunities available to you, your creativity can be so much greater. His 2-year tenure began when he was one of the dozens of volunteers who helped clean up the campuses following the July 1st, 2011 windstorm that uprooted trees and blew branches all over campus. He was drenched in sweat, and the effort he showed that first day translated into his tenure as president. From the beginning, he wanted to establish an RN to BSN nursing degree at the university. He got that done. He wanted to enter into discussions with the Marshall School District for a collaborative track and field complex. He got that done. He wanted to connect freshmen with faculty to help increase their student retention. He got that done. There were lots of smaller projects: new seating and carpet in the SMSU Theater, creating a groundwork for an AA degree, working with the school districts to offer an AA degree as part of the College Now program, working with the Marshall School District on a new track and field complex. Check, 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 and check. In the world of higher education, where the wheels of change can move excruciatingly slow, his accomplishments were many. When I got there, I really felt the spirit of the place, he said. There was a desire to go forward by the people, and it sucked me right in. It's easy to work with good people. Wood continues to serve on the Worthington City Council. He's playing a lot of golf, following his granddaughter's volleyball exploits, and doing some work for the Minskew system. Wood and his wife have 4 children: Melissa Alleman, Caroline Wood, Matt Strasberg, and Amy Harberts. They have 3 grandchildren. I'm really honored to be given this Alumni Association award, he said. Being president was one of the greatest times of my career.
It is my privilege to welcome Dr. Ron Wood from Worthington, Minnesota as our 2013 Honorary Lifetime Member.
Well, now they've said everything I was going to say on that thing, so I don't know what to say, except I am unbelievably honored to receive this award. It was really a privilege to be a part of the SMSU family and the community of Marshall. I said this is the, I told my wife a long time ago this would be the only other institution that could bring me out of retirement. I have watched SMSU since 1998. I've had many partnerships. I can go back through the presidents that were here, either interim or like me, or here for certain. But this has just been a place that has been so welcoming to me. It was interesting. My wife, when Chancellor McCormick, I said, "Are you okay with this?" And she said, "Are you kidding me? Get him out of the house, will you?" After 3 years in retirement, she said, "Get this guy out of here." I did know SMSU. And I was very familiar, and I was very excited about the opportunity. So on July 1, I was welcomed so nicely. Everybody was so friendly to me as I walked in on July 1. And then I'll tell you the story. It was the end of the day, and I got in my car, and I looked over. seen enough bad weather coming, and I kind of looked and I said, you know, I'm going to ride around the campus before I head out. And I got down to the corner over here and I said, you know, I better stay. And by the time I got back and pulled my car up underneath the little thing, the overhang of Founders Hall, the next thing I knew that you better get into the hallways and everything else. And when it was all done, we had $750,000 worth of damage done. And it was at this point in time, as we move forward over the next 5 days, 4 of those without electricity, that I knew what kind of group we were. It was quite a family. We spent a lot of time. It wasn't me, it was everybody. It was everybody working together. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say that on July 1 at 12:01 a.m., the state shut down, so we had nothing coming from the state. So we were really out on an island by ourselves. Even calling the insurance company was, I'm looking over here, I said, the insurance company was tough to get to. So it was quite a start. But I think what happened here is I started out running on the first day and we didn't quit until the day I left. I promised everybody that I would work till the last day, and I think I walked out at 4 something on the last day, and it's just been a privilege. The things that we accomplished while I was here they weren't my accomplishments, they were the accomplishments of a whole lot of people, both in the SMSU family and in the community of Marshall. I'm particularly proud of the fact that we were able to set record time. I've been a chief academic officer at another point in life, and I don't think I ever put anything through in 7 or 8 months, but we put a RN to BSN program through in such a short period of time, and that's a credit to the faculty who saw the need for it, to the administration who just made sure it went through, and even to Minskew who didn't hold us up too much in the process. And so it was that. It was the fact that we were able to make a partnership with the Marshall School District. We broke some ground with them. I think we've opened some doors that maybe weren't as opened as they should be. And that partnership is going to have a rehabilitation of the old stadium at some point in the near future, to have a new track and field complex. Well, if you're going to have a track and field complex, you better have a track and field team and a cross-country team, and we have that. They've run several meets this year in the cross-country, and they're looking forward to next spring having a number of meets with track and field. I guess there are so many other things that we could talk about that we were able to move forward that was so much fun in doing. But probably for me as a person, it was just a great adventure for me, because I've coached for over 30 years in of my higher ed career. And the first day I came on campus, when I kind of got a tour, I walked up into the stadium and into the boxes that are there, and I said, oh my God. You know, when you're at a 2-year school for a long time, you're used to a lot of really pretty dirt fields and a lot of other things, and it was just, I'm looking down there and I'm saying, boy, I bet that field's fast. And I think that's the case when you listen to the kids that come from high school that play on that field. They say, oh my gosh, what a difference it is from playing on a grass field. I guess I had another kind of experience that was kind of cool. I hadn't been in dorms for a long time. Back in the 60s was the last time I was in dorms. I lived in Common Central, and that was an experience. I'll leave it at that. And I guess during the last year, you know, I had a pretty big belly there, but I'm kind of proud now. My belly is a little bit less. I had 2 exercise science students. These young ladies needed an internship, so they took me on as a project. And boy, that was a hoot. But all I can say is, you know, that this was a great experience for me. This award is a great honor for me. I've been in education for over 40 years, and I can say this really is a great way for me to kind of close out. And I want to thank all those who made the selection. I think the college is in great hands with Dr. Gores at this point in time. It seems to be, and people seem to have the energy and excitement. So I think SMSU is, I've always said to the people up at Minskew, you got a diamond out there. You better make sure you take care of it, because this is a diamond at this school. So thank you very much. I really appreciate the honor.
Thank you, Ron, for all your support. at SMSU. The next awards, we have 3 awards left, and they go to our Alumni Achievement Awards. These are awards presented to SMSU alumni who have distinguished themselves personally and professionally since graduation. Our first achievement recipient is a man who literally has built his own road to success. From the class of 1975, Chuck Howe, Chief Engineering Geologist from the Minnesota Department of Transportation, has truly enjoyed his career with MnDOT.
How can you make a living doing something that is so much fun? That's the question Chuck Howe asks himself every day. Howe graduated with a geology degree in 1975 from what was then Southwest Minnesota State College, and today is the Chief Engineering Geologist for the Minnesota Department of Transportation. Chuck does a lot of work with rock slopes, tunnels, blasting, bridges, and foundations, and they also work with groundwater. He designed a system to lower the groundwater level on Highway 395, and he says that if that system ever failed, you'd be driving under 5 feet of water. He's also proud of the work his area put into the North Shore tunnels. He works with 4 other people in his department. He says that they design things that make traveling safe for the public. They try to make transportation systems better by using knowledge of applied science. It was a love of running which brought Chuck to SMSU. He grew up in North St. Paul and one day got a call from track coach Harry Jones, wanting him to come to Southwest for track and cross country. He says he was flattered that someone contacted him. Southwest didn't cost much, so he went. Howe graduated 5 years later, and in 1972 he enlisted in the National Guard and spent much of that year in basic and advanced training in California. He thought he might study biology, but in his freshman year he took an intro to geology class from Roger Reed and fell in love with it. Chuck says, Southwest was a good experience for me. I enjoyed it. My first year the runners came in early, 2 weeks before school started. Harry got us jobs laying sod for Bofferdings, and we all bonded. It was great fun. He ran track for 2 years and cross country for 4 years. He is in his 32nd year working for MnDOT. Before that, he worked for Johnson Screens, which makes stainless steel well screens. He says, I was in charge of geophysical equipment and looked for groundwater resources. He also taught 5th and 6th grade at the Holy Redeemer School in Marshall right after graduation. He couldn't find a geology job where he graduated, so he added a secondary education degree. So I have degrees from both SMSC and SSU, he said. He also said that it was an interesting time of those early years at the university. Coming from North St. Paul, he said he had a lot of African American friends, but it was new to Marshall back then. He says he thinks the town grew up. Howe sat in his residence hall room in the winter of his freshman year and watched the Student Center, then known as the Mustang Paddock, burn to the ground in what was to become one of the most infamous moments in school history. Today, he lives in Forest Lake with his wife Mary, an SMSU alumna, and Tracy native, who he met at the chalet during a quarter break. They have 3 children, Stephanie, Kristen, and Michael. I'm really honored by this Alumni Association honor, he said. Southwest was a good school for me, and it helped me shape who I am today and what I do today.
Please help me welcome to the stage in 1975 SMSU alum, Chief Engineering Geologist for Minnesota Department of Transportation, Mr. Chuck Howe.
I think one of the speakers before me said the same thing, that's what I was going to say, what you just heard in there. So you'll have to hear it twice, I guess. Or either that, or we can go with the Dr. Wood took up all of my time, and I think I'm done. Your choice. All right, so I'm here. This all started out because I had a call from Dr. Roger Reedy, who's out in the crowd here, one of my old professors, and he said, Chuck, I'd like to nominate you for an alumni award. And I said, really? Am I the last living geology graduate? I mean, I graduated 30 years ago, or 40 or something. Anyway, he went on to explain that he and Warren King, who was another one of my professors, had nominated some of the people in the geology department previously, and he thought that I was deserving. So he asked me to send him a resume, and I had just got done preparing my resume because I was looking at getting a promotion at the state. So I said, sure, I'll send it to you. And thought nothing of it. Well, this summer then I got a call from Michael Vandrell, and And he said, would you like to come down and accept an award from the alumni during homecoming? And I said, well, I'm not really too excited about standing in front of people and talking about myself, except my kids and family and things like that. But then I thought, I could just hear in Roger Reedy's voice, how proud he was of his graduates and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, that's the least I can do, stand up here and embarrass myself for a couple minutes, so that he could feel good about the program and about me, I guess. So. And of course, the other reason was Michael actually took me out to lunch. So that was the crowning moment. My journey through SMSC, as we called it back in those days, which we were sure stood for Send Money, Send Cookies, began with a phone call from Dr. Harry Jones. It went something like this. This is a phone for those of you that are too young to know that. Charles? Yes, sir. Do you want to come down to Southwest State and run for me? Yes, sir, I think I'd like that. So he invited me down, and I came down to visit during the springtime, and I was really impressed by the whole facility. It must have been a calm day. Harry Jones was an extremely likable fellow, even though he didn't look much like a runner. He was rather a large fellow with a cowboy hat, a chew of tobacco in his mouth, and a southern accent. Talked to me for a few minutes, and I was hooked. The nice thing about that, starting out in cross country, was that our freshman year, he brought us all down 2 weeks early so we could work out and get accustomed to the campus, just like the real athletes did. Freshman year was the fall of 1970. I know you've already heard this in my electronic version, but that was an interesting time. The Vietnam War was raging, and the race equality was a big issue. We didn't think so much here, but every place else. And it impacted SMSC in a way that I really wasn't prepared for. As I sat over in I think it was GM, it was either 1 or 4, whichever one was facing this way. Sat in the room with a friend. I was looking out. It was a cold winter night in January, I think, 1971, and there was smoke in the air. And we looked out there, and the Student Center, the Mustang Paddock as we called it, was burning to the ground, and it was quite a shock to me. I'm a victim of racial unrest. Well, we had a few more incidents, but we got over that, and I think the people grew, like it said in the electronic version, and we had a stronger student body because of that. A lot of my other memories here were quite happy ones. I dabbled in the arts just a little bit when I first got here. I spent my freshman year playing baritone in the concert band, and it was interesting and noteworthy because the person that sat next to me was also a baritone player, and the only way that he would learn his music was I had to play it right the first time. He would hear the notes and he would memorize them. This person had to be totally blind, so I was a better sight reader than him. I guess that's all I could say. I also spent my junior year singing in the concert choir, and that was mostly so I could be with Mary, my future wife. I probably never told her that. Speaking of Mary, and you've all heard this story now, I met my wife in the chalet while we were celebrating the end of finals week during my junior year, and we won't go into more details than that, except maybe over at the... We won't go into more details than that. For me, it was love at first sight, but I think it took her a little longer than that to get used to the idea. A shout out from Lee French, one of my old running buddies here. He knows me. Mary was in education classes and I was in geology, and so we didn't have a lot of classes together, but we still managed to do things together. A lot of activities and things we participated in together. I remember one particular event when members of my dorm squeaked out a narrow victory over members of her dorm in a Schwann's ice cream eating contest. Running was a big part of my experience at Southwest. I ran cross country and track from Harry Jones, and Harry Jones coached both of those. Harry had just finished his PhD in exercise physiology, I think it was, and he couldn't wait to experiment on us. After running workouts, he had a shower with alternating hot and icy cold water to help melt the toxins out of our muscles, I think that was. I think Lee was probably in the cold shower a little too long. But he also made us take contemporary dance to help us become more flexible. So he was all about doing the modern things to make us the best athletes that we could be. You know, hanging around the locker room back in the early 70s was a pretty cool place because we had people like R.A. Colvin down there, the trainer, remarkable character. Glenn Matke, of course, Lou Shaver, Harry Jones, all these people were just, I think they're well known still. There were some great athletes and some good teams, and being a letterman, I was able to get into all the activities for free. I still get goosebumps when I remember sitting in the packed stands of the swimming hall in complete darkness, and all of a sudden the lights would slowly come up and they'd play 2001 Space Odyssey, and the lights would shine on the swimmers, and I think the poor teams that they were competing with probably just had wet bathing suits after that. Only because they warmed up in the pool ahead of time. Not all the teams were that good. I remember the 46-game losing streak in basketball that tied an NCAA Division II record. I was there for every one of those games. It was still great to watch, though. We had a lot of fun with that. They were so close. They would be up by 20 points in the fourth quarter or second half in college basketball, so they'd find a way to lose it. But anyway, I came to Southwest thinking I might major in biology, and when I was a freshman, I took the intro to geology class from Roger Reedy, I can't say it either. Roger Reedy, and I was hooked. I mean, I just loved it. Like most people, rocks and minerals had fascinated me since I was a kid. You know, being a geology major was like belonging to a little community. We had classes together, we did homework together, and the best part was we went on geology field trips together. We had some great field trips. I remember going down to the lead mines down in Missouri, went over to Wisconsin. Favorite place to go was to the Black Hills, of course. I went out there twice, and every time we went out there, we had to sneak a trip into Wyoming to look at Devil's Tower. And we'd always pick up a case of Coors beer and bring it back here, and we were the most popular people on campus after that. Because you couldn't get Coors beer east of that area at the time. The geology department had three great professors. I mean, really great professors. There's Dr. Reedy, although he wasn't a doctor when we first started, but he became one. We also had Dr. Dale Sparling, and I heard the unfortunate news that he passed away this year. And also Warren King. And I don't know if Warren a doctor yet? Okay, and we also had Warren King. And Warren King was confined to a wheelchair, but that's probably not a good way to say it, because he wasn't confined to anything. He was just an incredible instructor, and he went out on geology field trips with us, and he was all over the hills. You know, people would wheel him up, drag him up, whatever it took. He was out there, you know, showing us what the different structures were and things. So they were all three of them were just outstanding. The other good thing were the class sizes. In geology, we would have, 5 people, 10 people on a big class. So it was very good for me because I needed the individual attention. You can ask Dr. Reedy about that. I remember one class I had, I think it was a geomorphology class, where I was the only student, and I was sitting in Dr. Sparling's office. The good thing about that was that I was finally at the top of the grading curve. So I owe a great deal of gratitude to my 3 professors who put up with me and taught me the basics of geology and gave me the thirst for knowledge and scientific investigation. I think that's what's really helped me the most. I don't remember all the things. In fact, some of the stuff that Dr. Reedy taught me was actually trash. Apparently, we don't believe in the geosynclinal theory anymore. There's a continental drift that causes mountain building. So. But back in those days, in the early 70s, we still believed in that. And I guess they, along with my lovely wife, Mary, are the main reasons for the success that I enjoy today. And I'd like to thank them all, and along with Southwest, which was really the perfect fit for me. That's all I have to say. Thank you. And I'd like to thank the Alumni Board and everybody that participated in this award ceremony and who chose me for this award. Thank you. Oh, you know, I was going to wear my letter sweater tomorrow.
Underneath.
Yes.
Oh, do you have my notes?
You want mine too?
Well, take it.
There you go.
And he was worried he wouldn't have enough to say. Congratulations, Chuck. Our next Alumni Achievement recipient is someone who traveled halfway around the world in 1975 to attend college in America.
Homer Chan, a 1977 alumnus, took a long and interesting journey to Southwest Minnesota State University. His sense of adventure and entrepreneurial eye served him well on that journey and the one that followed. Today, Chan is the managing partner of the CPA firm Chan & Zong LLP, located in San Gabriel, California. At the age of 16, he had left home and was working full-time for Edwards Properties in Hong Kong while attending school part-time. I went to evening school and my boss asked me if I wanted to go to college, and he supported me, said Chan. He grew up in a farm family and most children didn't finish grade school. He says, "We did not have enough food and I wish I had a good education. I wanted a different life. I wanted freedom." And so he set out on his own. After attending Luncheon University in Hong Kong for 2 years, he came to the U.S. in 1974 and continued to work at Edward Properties at its San Francisco, California office. While in San Francisco, he got a call from a friend, Peter Hugh, who was attending SMSU. He convinced Chan that the university was safe and affordable, and Chan arrived for the fall quarter in 1975. He graduated with a business administration degree and returned to California and his accounting work with Edward Properties. He took financial and accounting courses part-time at UCLA, and in 1979 he married his wife, Betty. They have one child, Wayne. He started his own accounting firm, Homer Chan Tax and Consultants, in 1985 and worked there part-time while still working for Edward Properties. By 1988, he resigned from Edward Properties to work full-time at his new business. In 2004, he joined Eric Zahn and became the managing partner at Chan & Zong LLP. A year later, in 2005, Chan became the founding director of First Choice Bank. Most of Chan's clients came to the U.S. from China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and the Asian Pacific areas. When he arrived in Marshall in 1975, it was his first time in a smaller community, something he has not forgotten. "I learned about the culture and lived the American lifestyle," he said. "Marshall is friendly and the people didn't lock their doors. In Los Angeles and San Francisco, you have to have an alarm." Back then, it was a staff member, Fran Shindo, who worked with international students. "He was Japanese," said Chan. "The culture was difficult at first, especially as it relates to the diet. I was used to Chinese, and now it was hamburger. I could not stand it. I lost some weight," he said with a chuckle. He's learned a lot about the U.S. and freedom. "I wish China had more freedom," he said. "China is pretty strong, but only economically strong. I want them to have freedom, too." As for what he sees today in America, he mentions a lack of work ethic. "Young Americans, second or third generation, they have a good life," he continued, "but they don't work hard. A lot depend on the government for support. You should work and work and work and get something. A lot don't go to school. That would make me feel bad." The Alumni Association honor is totally unexpected. He says, "It makes me embarrassed and surprised. Thank you."
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to welcome a 1977 SMSU alum, entrepreneur, and very successful businessman, Mr. Homer Chan.
In the beginning, I thought this should be good morning, but right now is good afternoon. I'm great and touched me as a celebrity receive this alumni award. I would be like to thank alumni, the board of directors, nomination and selection. And I would like to thank my wife, Betty is over there, and I won't have the achievement today without her support all years. And I also appreciate everyone here have opportunity to share my experience and belief with you. I was born in a small village in South China. I have a big family, and the living condition is harsh. Don't even have enough food to eat. And I serve for my better life. I left for Hong Kong and worked full-time when I was 15. They say it's 16, but I was 15. To support myself and go to evening school. Fortunately, my boss and my mentor back then, Mr. Edward Chen, saw my potential in me. He encouraged me to go better education and agreed to pay my tuition in high school and college. And also I still worked in part-time. And he asked me to work less than before and fit my schedule. My only thing asked me in return is get a better grade. And that I delivered. He also told me that to pay it forward to help people in need whenever I can. Being admitted in Ningnan University in Hong Kong was a dream come true to me. Not like you guys, you have come to school any time, but not me. I was first in my home village, first one in attend college. 2 years later, for the program, Mr. Edward Chen suggested me to go further, study abroad in United States. And that was his vision. I pushed myself, worked very hard to study English, and I barely speak English at that time. And I attended SMSU, that was SSU before. I also worked part-time as a busboy, a waiter, and to make it meet in definitely not easy for me because my English is so bad and spend that time to study. Upon the graduation, I moved to California to work for the real estate developer. The company is owned by my ex-boss, Mr. Edward Chen. Later, pursuit of success, I started my own accounting firm. The past 30 years, I grew it one person shop to local business and I work. I know that would be encouraged if not Mr. Chen encouraged me 40 years ago. I can make it and continue carry his faith in people. I always make sure my employee have the opportunity for advancement to the career that my accounting have about 6 CPA right now. I see their successful biggest reward. I never forgot Mr. Edward Chen told me about help others, and I try to live up to it. Looking back, I never imagined I could receive the success, receive the honors in great university when I lived the poor life remote the village. But I always have the motivation to make it the difference in my life. Thanks to people who could saw my hard work and generously offer their support. I achieved my goal and even gained the ability to make a difference for the others. Thanks again the opportunity to speak with you, and I hope my experience will be impress the students, but not the last. Last and not the last. I have it. Thanks, Michael, and all the alumni, board of the alumni, amazing program, and all the event organized. Please give them a big hand. Thanks for me today, and enjoy the rest of the event and go Mustang.
Congratulations on Homer on such an amazing journey. Our third and final Alumni Achievement recipient is Dr. Mark Nook. Mark is the Senior Vice President of Academic and Student Affairs for University of Wisconsin System, the Wisconsin equivalent to MNSCU system of higher education found here in Minnesota.
Mark Nook discovered how helpful professors could be at SMSU in his first week at the university. He was sitting in a Ted Rowe calculus class a couple of rows back, and at the end of the lecture, Rowe asked him to stay afterwards. He saw that I couldn't see the board and told me to sit in the front row after that, said Nook. I had really poor vision. I was legally blind in one eye and had to squint, which made reading difficult. I appreciated that. I was new to campus and new to the state and was finding my way. I ended up being extremely successful in that class, and the credit goes to him. He graduated in 1980 with degrees in math and physics. Today, Nook is the Senior Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs for the University of Wisconsin System, a higher education system encompassing 13 four-year institutions and 13 two-year institutions. It's a single entity with multiple campuses, he explained. We don't have technical colleges or technical training. Our two-year colleges are true liberal arts transfer institutions, and each has a niche. The four-year universities have academic specialties in the Wisconsin system, he added. Stevens Point has a College of Natural Resources, Eau Claire has nursing, La Crosse has health sciences and physical and occupational therapy, Stout is culinary, golf management, and more technical courses. It's very different from the MNSCU system. Nook was named the system's chief academic officer in May of 2012. In his current position, he oversees many areas. I'm in charge of academic and student affairs, he said. I work with chancellors and provosts and senior student affairs officers within the system. We deal with new academic programs and policy issues at the federal and state level. We also work with faculty and academic staff representatives, one from each campus. He is an Iowa native who graduated from the Galvin-Holstein High School. Though he spent 3 years in Colorado growing up, he says he still considers Holstein his family home. He got his master's in astrophysics at Iowa State University and later his doctorate in astronomy at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. He credits former SMSU physics professor Al Rusk with helping him develop a love for the culture and the university. He also says Rusk gave him his guidance to pursue graduate work and to become successful when I was there. He taught at Concordia College, Moorhead, Minnesota, and was a physics professor for 14 years at St. Cloud State University. He was promoted to chair of the Department of Physics, Astronomy, and Engineering Science at St. Cloud and was later named the Dean of Undergraduate Studies. He then went to Wisconsin-Stevens Point, where he held several administrative positions, including interim chancellor. I consider myself an accidental administrator. I love the college environment, and you can't find it anywhere else. It's rewarding to interact with students day to day and help them discover a love of learning. That's why I went into higher education, he says. Nook met his wife Cheryl, a Marshall native, in his junior year at SMSU. She's been an incredible part of my life. We couldn't be more different. She was a volleyball player and music and education major, but we had a lot of things in common, Nook said. He loves the outdoors and was a member of a Gene Replinger-led outdoor group at SMSU. He has spoken to many different groups about the Lions Eye Bank effort and is appreciative he can view nature today. Nook and his wife are the parents of 3 children, Megan Clark, Aaron, and Corey.
It is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Mark Nook, a 1980 SMSU alum, to the stage.
Thank you very much. Michael, thanks for all you've done in making these arrangements, and to the Alumni Board. Thank you for approving this. It really is a great honor for me. I really can't say enough, and Ed, thank you for the nomination. Before I begin, I want to say what an honor it is to be included with this group. As I heard the stories of the individuals, congratulations to all of you. You know, you've really set a remarkable level out there, done some remarkable things, and I'm deeply touched and honored to be part, especially of this group. Congratulations to all of you. When I grew up in Holstein, Iowa, it's a small town. I like to tell people I graduated 20th in my class. There were 35 of us. And I wasn't in the top half of my class, and I wasn't a B student even. I had a pretty good ACT score. I didn't know what that meant. I had a choice of coming here or going to Iowa State. I came up here for a visit, and Julie Hine took me around, showed me the physics departments. I met R.A. Colvin. I was thinking about being an athletic trainer. I never really did that, but R.A. is a remarkable man and really helped me fall in love with this institution on that visit. But after that visit, it was clear to my parents where I was going to school, and it was just up to me to finally figure out that they were right. But when I got here, I knew one thing. I knew I wanted to study physics. I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I knew I didn't want to teach high school. My mom was my junior high English teacher. That really was a lot of fun, but I knew I didn't want to be a public school teacher. I also knew I didn't want to work 8 to 5 for someone else. That just wasn't the kind of person I was. I didn't want to come to work and stop work when somebody said it was time to go home. But I didn't know what that meant. And the first year, you know, Ted sitting over there, he really did help me in that calculus class get going, and Al Russ gave a great deal of encouragement getting through physics that first year. And that first year went pretty well. And I came back for my sophomore year, and I took an astrophysics class from Al. And I'd written in my freshman year, I kept a little diary then. I said, I never want to study astronomy. I always want to be able to lay in the backyard and look up at the stars and wonder why and be in awe. I never want to understand this field. I took that astrophysics class, and I realized that was over. I was hooked. I mean, I realized that I could understand this field, and there were going to be more questions than I could think about. The more I knew, the more questions there would be, and I would always be in awe. And the other thing that happened that sophomore year, I realized how much fun I was having at the university, and it had nothing to do with the parties at the Chalet or Earth 2 or those sorts of things. It had everything to do with the environment up in the science and math building and in every other building around campus. I'd walk across campus, we'd go into the chem club room, and there'd be chemistry students in there, and ask them what they'd been working on, and they'd be telling me about a research project that they were working on or a homework assignment that they had. I'd run into someone from the Earth Science program, and we'd talk about some of the geology that they were working on, the Crab Nebula Supernova remnant paper that I was writing. I'd run into a young lady who's sitting over here who was a music major and talk about the pieces that they were developing for the choir. And this incredible environment of just sharing knowledge and developing new knowledge. And I said, I've got to find a way to stay in this environment. And I went to my advisor, Al Rusk, and I said, how do I do this? How do I stay in this environment? He said, you've got two options, Mark. He says, one is to do what you're doing right now. He says, and that is continue to work as a janitor. I had a work study thing as a janitor, so I could stay on and just be a janitor. I'd never have to leave. He said, the other thing you can do is get to work, get good grades, go off to graduate school, and become a professor. And he says, I think you should do the latter. And what I found is, and these people sitting over here at this table really helped me understand that too, bring these pieces together. Ed Carberry in chemistry, I never had a class from him. And yet, I knew him on a personal basis because of the close proximity of the physics department, the chemistry department. And he just wouldn't leave you alone. He wanted to know what you were doing. He was interested in how things were going. He made sure there was a keg at the chem party. It was just great. Drinking age was 18, we were okay. Yeah, and Gene, you saw the pictures up there, rafting and with a bear cub tucked in that's an incredible thing. If you ever get to tuck a bear cub in, do it. But Gene Repplinger got me involved in the outdoor program. It's just a wonderful, wonderful experience. Roger Reedy taught me to run the planetarium while I was here. I became a planetarium director. So I came here knowing I wanted to study physics, and I left here knowing what my professional life would be. And I've always said that at the institutions that I've worked at, that what I want them to do is develop a mission that is around making sure that we meet every student's educational goals, professional goals, and personal life goals. Because that's what I learned here about this faculty. They were committed to that. I want to tell you one other story. That's what's going to be hard. 35 years ago at homecoming, we had coronation, so probably about like last night. We had coronation. And I went to coronation. I lived in, well, we call it GW2. It's now Kama Sutra. But I lived in Kama Sutra. I had nothing to do with the naming of that door. But I went to coronation. Our RA was up for King's selection and things. And at that coronation 35 years ago, one of the RA from the women's dorm right next door, El Dorado, introduced me to this very beautiful young woman. She's sitting over there. She's now my wife, Cheryl. And none of this that I've ever been able to do would have happened without the personal life that this university gave me with my wife and with the children that we've had. And she's a Marshall native. So Marshall has become our home. We were always back here to see her parents. We were here for homecoming often. Cheryl's dad ran Marshall TV and Appliance, so we'd sit out in front of the store and pick up the candy. I'd pick the candy up for him. And so we were back for these sorts of things. And it really has become a home for us. And so when I think about Southwest, I came here knowing what I wanted to study. I left knowing what my profession was going to be, and I knew what my personal life was going to be. I can't be happier or more proud of this institution to call it my home. So thank you very much for everything that you've done for me and my family, and to the rest of the people that were inducted today. Congratulations, and thank you.
Congratulations, Mark. What an awesome career you have. Let's give it up one more time for all of our phenomenal award winners today. What a great group we have here, huh? As we just kind of conclude today, I just want to point out a few of the events that we have going on this weekend. Obviously, it's going to be a busy weekend. Tonight we have at 6 o'clock the University Gala. At 8 o'clock tonight we have Clutch and the Shifters, and that's going to be over at the Ramada just across the street. So Maybe a few more stories will begin from tonight. We'll see. Saturday, we do have an 11 o'clock parade. The weather forecast isn't looking real great, so bundle up as much as you can. Bring an umbrella, whatever you have for that. Between 2 and 6, we have Family Fun Fest. That's going to take place in the RA parking lot. So come on out. We have tents. We have heaters. It'll be a good time. I think we extra ordered a couple more heaters once we found out what the forecast was. 6 o'clock is kickoff against the University of Sioux Falls, and then at 9 o'clock we have dueling pianos, 176 keys, dueling pianos at the new Brow Brother Brewery. So come on now after the game. Sure to be a good time and see the new business in town. Before we dismiss, there are a few thank yous that I want to point out. Obviously, homecoming cannot be done without the help of everyone. Up on the screen, we have a couple of people that I really want to recognize. Jim Tate for all the interviews, photos. He's doing videos after this. Just been a great opportunity for him to contact our award winners, get their stories, and continue to grab that information. Marcy Olson for all the invitations, programs, and the overall look of homecoming. Thank you, Marcy. You do a great job with all of that. Brandon Sheffield for the videos, the voiceovers that you saw on all of our award. Stu Gallstad for recording today and helping us with all the technical issues that we come across throughout the weekend. Bonnie for your decorations support, helping us get ready for this event and all of homecoming. Tyler Ewell, the new graduate assistant in the alumni office, for helping make the PowerPoints and just overall support. The advancement staff that we have here on campus, Bill Mosel, Karen Kaz, Joran Amen, Lou Yackley, Stacy Frost, student affairs, physical plant, all of them. It takes an entire team to be able to pull off homecoming and events like this. So congratulations to all of them, and thank you. We appreciate that. Well, that's it for today. Congratulations again on what an awesome group of alums we have. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll see you all at all the fun activities this weekend, and go Mustangs. Thank you.